You are listening to the Pregnancy Podcast with Vanessa Merton. Thank you for tuning into the Pregnancy Podcast. In today's episode, we're talking about cardio exercise during pregnancy. We will take a deep dive and include everything from walking, running, swimming, cycling, and more. Cardio is a broad category that includes any activity that raises your heart rate. And during pregnancy, you have normal changes to your cardiovascular system that mean that your heart works differently. And that often raises questions about safety for you and your baby. Find out how pregnancy-related changes can affect cardio workouts, learn how current guidelines define safe exercise, and why intensity matters more than the specific activity that you choose. And I will cover practical ways to gauge effort using heart rate or simple body cues, along with clear guidance on when to slow down or stop. You can find the full article and all of the resources for this episode at pregnancypodcast.com/cardio. One of my favorite things about producing this podcast is that I get to do the heavy lifting of all the research so you can get the information that you need distilled down in one short podcast episode. As much as there is to learn during pregnancy, there is an episode of the Pregnancy Podcast waiting for you to press play on every topic you can think of. Become a Pregnancy Podcast Premium member to get an ad-free experience and access every single episode. This includes hundreds of episodes with evidence-based information that you won't find anywhere else. Let me save you the time and hassle of researching the evidence and sorting through conflicting information. Join Pregnancy Podcast Premium at pregnancypodcast.com/premium. As the #1 baby monitor brand in North America, VTech is trusted by millions of families to deliver crystal clear HD video, reliable performance, strong night vision, and convenient smartphone access. The VTech VM901 baby monitor makes monitoring effortless whether you're home or away. Check out the VM901 monitor at pregnancypodcast.com/VM901 and save 20% with the code VTPodcast20. 8 Sheep Organics makes amazing 100% clean, natural pregnancy products. From skincare to treating common pregnancy symptoms like stretch marks with clinically proven ingredients, 8 Sheep Organics has you covered. Every product comes with a 100-day happiness guarantee. Try it risk-free, and if you are not 100% happy with your purchase, simply send them an email and they'll get you a refund, no questions asked. Check out 8 Sheep Organics and save 10% when you go to pregnancypodcast.com/8sheep. There is a separate episode that provides an overview of exercise during pregnancy. That episode covers general recommendations, safety considerations, and how pregnancy-related changes and common symptoms can affect your workouts. That episode really lays the foundation for understanding how to approach exercise when you're pregnant. So I recommend listening to that one first before diving into this episode on cardio. Cardio is short for cardiovascular training. Your cardiovascular system includes your heart and your blood vessels. In exercise, cardio refers to any workout that elevates your heart rate. And a lot of exercises fall under this umbrella. Things like walking, hiking, running, biking, using a rowing or elliptical machine, playing sports, dancing, and high-intensity interval training. Even activities like jumping jacks, burpees, or jumping rope are cardio workouts. There is a very large body of evidence that supports cardiovascular exercise for nearly all aspects of your health. Cardio helps improve the health of your cardiovascular and respiratory systems. It also helps build muscle and burn calories. As with the research on all physical activity, cardio improves physical and mental health. In the short term, it can improve your mood. In the long term, it can actually delay brain aging and degenerative brain diseases like Alzheimer's. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists recommends that pregnant women get at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity weekly. They define moderate aerobic activity as one in which you move large muscles of the body in a rhythmic way enough to raise your heart rate and start sweating. You can talk normally, but you cannot sing. Essentially, what ACOG is recommending is that you do some type of cardio. When we talk about cardio recommendations during pregnancy, intensity matters much more than the specific activity that you choose. Most guidelines describe exercise as light, moderate, vigorous, or high. But what does that actually mean? These are commonly used terms. There have been guidelines that have been proposed to define them, but there's no universally agreed upon definition. So when we don't have clear definitions, recommendations can feel very confusing. There are a few practical ways to think about intensity. We'll go through those, and then you can use whatever makes the most sense for you. If you like numbers or you use a fitness tracker, heart rate is one easy way to quantify intensity. If you don't have a fitness tracker, you can manually check your heart rate. You can do that by using the tips of your first two fingers. Press those lightly over the artery on the inside of the wrist on the opposite hand. You will count your pulse for 30 seconds and then multiply that by 2 to find your beats per minute. Of course, a fitness tracker like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch makes this much easier. To understand quantifying exertion with heart rate, you have to understand resting and maximum heart rate. Your resting heart rate is the number of times that your heart beats per minute when you are at rest. The normal range for most adults is between 60 to 100 beats per minute. A meta-analysis found that pregnancy increased heart rate by about 7 to 8 beats per minute. So naturally, when you're pregnant, your heart rate is slightly higher. A resting heart rate on the lower end is better because that means that your heart isn't working as hard. A lower resting heart rate generally reflects better cardiovascular fitness, and regular exercise does tend to lower your resting heart rate over time. Next is maximum heart rate. This is the maximum number of times your heart should beat per minute during exercise. You can estimate what this number should be by subtracting your age from 220. The American Heart Association recommends that your target heart rate zone for exercise is 50 to 85% of your maximum heart rate. They classify moderate intensity activities at about 50 to 70% of maximum heart rate, and then vigorous intensity as 70 to 85%. As an example, for a 30-year-old, the average max heart rate would be 190 beats per minute. So going with the recommendation from the American Heart Association that your target heart rate zone for exercise is 50 to 85% of your maximum heart rate, you're aiming for a target of between 95 to 162 beats per minute during exercise. Some fitness trackers also divide heart rate into zones. These are simply ranges based on percentages of your maximum heart rate. These can be helpful, but they're estimates, they're not exact targets. Zone 1 is 50 to 60%, Zone 2 is 60 to 70%, Zone 3 is 70 to 80%, Zone 4 cardio is 80 to 90%, and then Zone 5 would be above 90%. I know that's a lot of math. If you do not track your heart rate or you do not want to think about numbers, you definitely don't need to. You can also use subjective measures to determine your activity level. A method that researchers use to quantify exercise is the Borg Rating of Perceived Exertion Scale. This measures how hard it feels when the body is working. It includes heart rate, breathing rate, sweating, muscle fatigue. This scale ranges from 6, being no exertion, to 20, which is maximal exertion. And each number corresponds to a heart rate. At 6, a 6 corresponds to a heart rate of 60 beats per minute, 12 to 120 beats per minute, etc. A simpler version of this is the talk test. During moderate intensity exercise, you should be able to talk but not sing. During vigorous exercise, you may only be able to say a few words at a time before you have to take a breath. The most important takeaway here is that you don't need to overthink intensity. Pay attention to how your body feels. If you feel overly winded, like you can't catch your breath, if you're uncomfortable, or you feel like your heart rate is too high, slow down. If you do feel comfortable, you can carry on a conversation. You're likely within a safe range, and if you're comfortable, you can bring up the intensity. Let's talk about how cardio affects you and your baby. During pregnancy, your blood volume increases 50%, and that's necessary to support your growing baby and the placenta. The additional blood requires that your heart works harder. That means that you reach a higher heart rate more quickly during normal exercise. As you get further into your pregnancy and as your belly's growing, it's going to push your other organs up, which can decrease your lung capacity. That means that you may find yourself short of breath and breathing may be more challenging, especially during a cardio workout. In addition to cardiovascular changes, you also experience an increase in relaxin. That's a hormone that relaxes your ligaments. And your ligaments are what give your joints stability, so increased laxity can actually raise the risk of injury. In relation to cardio, you should be mindful of movements that involve rapid direction changes or with deep stretching. You want to make sure that you're taking care of your ligaments because they are extra vulnerable. Now let's talk about your baby. Your baby's blood supply is reliant on yours. And during a cardio workout, your body redirects blood towards your working muscles. The theoretical concern is that this could reduce blood flow to your baby. Over time, reduced blood flow to a baby in utero could result in a baby who is small for gestational age, at a low birth weight, or prematurity. Many studies examining cardio in pregnancy focus specifically on these outcomes to assess safety. A meta-analysis examined vigorous intensity exercise completed in the 3rd trimester and found it safe for most healthy pregnancies. We may need further research on vigorous intensity exercise in the 1st and 2nd trimesters and on exercise intensity exceeding 90% of max heart rate. The important takeaway here is that the overall body of evidence supports cardio exercise as safe and beneficial for most pregnancies. If you are high risk or have any additional concerns, you should always discuss those with your doctor or midwife. Many precautions that anyone should take during a cardio workout also apply during pregnancy. Because pregnancy-related changes increase joint laxity and strain, warming up and cooling down become especially important. This includes a 5 to 10 minute warm up to gradually increase blood flow to your muscles and increase your heart rate. After a cardio workout, you should also cool down. This involves slowing down your workout for the last 5 to 10 minutes. As an example, if you go for a run, you should walk for the last 5 to 10 minutes. Stretching should be a component at the end of your warm-up and during your cool down. There is some controversy as to whether stretching is effective at preventing injuries. Stretching will improve your flexibility and range of motion and reduce muscle soreness. Since your ligaments do tend to be looser during pregnancy, do take it easy on the stretching. If it hurts, scale it back. Stretching should feel good. It should not be painful. When we talk about warning signs to indicate that you should stop doing a cardio workout, these are pretty obvious. The list from ACOG includes regular painful contractions of the uterus, bleeding, fluid gushing or leaking from the vagina, also feeling dizzy or faint, shortness of breath before exercise, chest pain, headache, muscle weakness, calf pain, or swelling. Paying attention to your body and how you feel is really the key to keeping your workouts within safe limits. If your body is too far outside of its comfort zone and you feel especially tired, you're overly winded, you're feeling very exhausted, slow down. If at any point you feel like you may be overdoing it, you probably are. Next, I want to dive into some of the research on specific cardio workouts. Before we do that, I would like to thank the sponsors that have supported this episode. A lot of companies offer exclusive discounts for pregnancy podcast listeners, and you can always see discounts and promo codes at pregnancypodcast.com/resources. As the #1 baby monitor brand in North America, VTech is trusted by millions of families to deliver crystal clear HD video, reliable performance, strong night vision, and convenient smartphone access. The VTech VM901 baby monitor makes monitoring effortless whether you're home or away. It has a 1080 pixel camera and a 5-inch color LCD parent unit. You can also use it on your phone, and you'll have free access to the My VTech app with no fees ever. You can remotely pan, tilt, and zoom. There's infrared night vision, two-way talk, built-in soothing sounds and lullabies, temperature alerts, split screen support for multiple cameras. This all comes with a plug-and-play setup with secure encrypted Wi-Fi. The VM901 baby monitor is designed for convenience and reliable performance. Check out the VTech VM901 baby monitor at pregnancypodcast.com/VM901 and save 20% with the code VTPodcast20. AG1 is the daily health drink that combines your multivitamin, pre- and probiotics, superfoods, and antioxidants into one simple green scoop. It's one of the easiest things you can do to support your body every day. AG1 goes to great lengths to continually invest in rigorous peer-reviewed clinical trials, and you know how much I love research. AG1 goes above and beyond. They test for hundreds of contaminants and impurities to guarantee that they deliver the highest quality nutrients available. I've been starting every morning with AG1 for many years. I love the peace of mind because I know that I'm covering all of the key nutrients that my body needs, plus supporting my microbiome, metabolism, and immune system. This time of year, it's more important than ever to be proactive about supporting your immune health. Head to drinkag1.com/pregnancypodcast, and when you first subscribe to AG1, you'll get an AG1 welcome kit, a bottle of vitamin D3K2, and you'll get to try each new flavor of AG1 and their new sleep supplement, AGZ. Go to drinkag1.com/pregnancypodcast. As a friendly reminder, pregnant or nursing women should seek professional medical advice before taking this or any other dietary supplement. Let's get back to today's episode. Walking is one of the most accessible forms of cardio. The benefits of walking include burning calories, strengthening your heart, lowering your blood sugar, improving your immune system, increasing your energy, improving your mood, increasing your longevity so you actually live longer. There is a long list of benefits. It can even help your creativity and give you space to think. ACOG states that brisk walking gives a total body workout and is easy on the joints and muscles. A review of walking during pregnancy found that only 14 to 23% of pregnant women meet recommended levels of physical activity during their pregnancy. Physical activity increased from the first through the second trimester and then decreased in the third trimester. That makes sense because in the first trimester, you may be dealing with morning sickness and fatigue. That can make it difficult to work out. Second trimester, you usually feel your best. But then in the third trimester, fatigue tends to return and your growing belly can make exercising more challenging. Evidence shows that walking during pregnancy reduces the risk of gestational diabetes, and glucose levels are 4 to 21% lower after a 25 to 40 minute low intensity walk. So you don't have to speed walk to get these benefits. Walking is also associated with a 33% lower risk of preeclampsia and a 29 to 44% lower risk of excess weight gain during pregnancy. Plus, there's some evidence that it can also lead to a healthier birth weight for your baby and reduce the risk of preterm birth. Walking is an activity that nearly everyone can do, and even a daily walk around your block could be a good start to exercise. Running offers the same benefits as walking, and you burn more calories. The downside is that running carries a higher risk of injury, and it can be harder on your joints. One study of nearly 1,300 participants included expecting mothers that were in running groups across the United States. So it's important to keep in mind when I'm talking about this study, these are people who had a running practice before becoming pregnant. There were two groups of participants, those who continued to run during their pregnancy and those who did not. They found no difference in gestational age at delivery, meaning running did not contribute to premature delivery. There was also no statistical significance in the baby's birth weights. This was independent of the stage or trimester of pregnancy and the distances that participants ran. This study is great news for runners because previously it was thought that running could affect preterm birth weights and your baby's birth weight. There is a difference between someone who is an experienced runner and somebody who isn't. If your body is accustomed to running, it will be much easier during pregnancy than for somebody who's new to running. A study looked at long-distance runners before they became pregnant. On average, the participants reduced the intensity of their running during their pregnancy, including cutting it by half. The point of me bringing this up is to show you that even competitive runners understand that their running practice may need to slow down a little bit to accommodate the changes that occur in your body when you're pregnant. Even with reduced intensity, all of the participants maintained running during pregnancy. Of all the women in this study, 3.9% sustained an injury during pregnancy. But remember, these are competitive long-distance runners. These are not people going for a casual jog around the neighborhood. Injury is always a risk with running, although you are more prone to injury during pregnancy due to the effects of relaxin. One form of cardio with a very low injury risk is swimming. When people talk about swimming during pregnancy, they may mean different things. Some people are swimming laps at a pace that raises their heart rate. Others may be referring to water aerobics or gentle movement in a pool. Physical changes that happen during pregnancy put a lot of pressure on your cardiovascular system, your joints, your spine, and being in water can help take pressure off your body and your joints. ACOG supports swimming and water workouts because they use many of the body's muscles, and the water supports your weight to avoid injury and muscle strain. In addition, there's research that suggests that swimming in a pool can actually help reduce swelling, and that's a very common symptom, especially in the third trimester. While we're grouping swimming and water aerobics, these can feel very different in terms of intensity. Swimming laps or moving continuously in the water at an intensity that raises your heart rate is a great form of cardio. Water aerobics serves a different purpose. It may feel good and provide gentle movement, but it may not make a significant difference in your health. One study took 71 low-risk, sedentary pregnant women, so these were women who did not work out, and randomly allocated half to a group that did water aerobics and the other half to no physical exercise. They found no significant differences in any outcome measured, including weight gain, BMI, preterm birth, blood pressure, or heart rate. If you're looking to get a workout in the water, you should opt for swimming over other types of water aerobics. A theoretical risk of swimming or spending times in pools is the chemicals that are used to clean or treat the water. During pregnancy, your baby is susceptible to chemicals, especially in the earlier stages of pregnancy. One study examined mothers who swam during early and mid-pregnancy and found no adverse outcomes. The researchers did note that pool chemicals might be toxic at higher exposure levels, but there were no adverse effects and even fewer preterm births in the swimming group in this study. Many pools use saltwater systems instead of chlorine to keep pools clean. But it's a common misconception that saltwater pools are chlorine-free. Saltwater systems still use chlorine, but in much lower amounts. The salt content is about 1/10 of the ocean, so it's not quite as salty as ocean water, but it still does contain some chlorine. Another form of cardio is cycling. ACOG recommends a stationary bike over a standard bicycle during pregnancy because of the risk of falling. This is a fantastic example of how recommendations tend to be overly conservative. A stationary bike is always safer than a standard bicycle, whether you're pregnant or not. If you're not going anywhere, it's much harder to fall off your bike. This is great news if you have a Peloton that you like to ride. If you like to go on bike rides in your neighborhood, or if you're an avid cyclist, this may not be what you want to hear. Remember, recommendations will always err on the side of caution, and your personal decisions about your activity should reflect your experience and your comfort level, and you can always bring up any questions with your doctor or midwife. While we've talked about some specific things like walking, running, swimming, cycling, remember, cardio is any workout that elevates your heart rate. Gyms have a lot of machines that you can use for a cardio workout. Rowing machines, elliptical trainers, treadmills. Most gyms also have group classes for HIIT, high-intensity interval training, or other aerobic workouts. If the weather's too hot or too cold, hitting the gym might be nice so you can work out indoors. ACOG does caution against sports that carry a risk of being hit in the abdomen with a ball, including soccer and basketball. Remember, most of these guidelines are overly conservative. If you prefer to exercise by yourself or even in the comfort of your own home, there are endless YouTube videos of solo home workouts. It could range from anything from basic fitness moves like jumping jacks, burpees, or jumping rope, to more advanced things like dancing and kickboxing. If you enjoy cardio workouts, that's amazing. Unfortunately, cardio can be especially dreadful for somebody who's just starting to incorporate exercise. Thankfully, there are many ways that you can make your cardio workouts either more enjoyable or more productive, or maybe both. You can combine cardio with social time. Meet up with a friend for a run or a cardio workout. If you're going on a walk, schedule a call to catch up with a friend or a family member. You can go for a walk with your partner. That's a really excellent time to reconnect, to discuss your plans for your birth, or talk about what life will look like with a new baby. With the exception of swimming, you can do any cardio workout with headphones. You can listen to a podcast, enjoy music, maybe even listen to stand-up comedy. Sometimes switching up your surroundings can also make your workout more enjoyable. You may be able to find a new hike or walking trail in your area, ride a bike to explore a different part of your town, or even take a drive and head to a different park outside of your neighborhood to get some exercise in some new surroundings. The key to cardio, or any form of exercise, is finding activities that you enjoy. If you're forcing yourself to do workouts that you really dread doing and that you don't enjoy, it will be even more difficult. You have nothing to lose by trying something new. Worst case scenario, you try a new workout and you don't love it. You still have gotten in your physical activity for the day, and you know to try something different the next time. Cardio workouts are so diverse. If you move your body and elevate your heart rate, it counts as cardio. And you don't need to log every workout. You don't have to track your heart rate. All you need to do is move your body. The only thing that you really need for cardio is comfortable clothing and shoes. Clothing should be loose-fitting, comfortable for the temperature or the climate where you are. Shoes should be comfortable. You should have good arch support. Relaxin can also relax the ligaments in your feet and can actually contribute to your arch collapsing and change the shape of your foot, which can make your feet go up a shoe size. For this reason, I'm a big fan of the Mommy Steps insoles. Whether you use insoles or not, you need to ensure that you have good arch support, especially if you're doing lots of walking or running. Fitness trackers like an Apple Watch, a Fitbit can be cool to track some metrics like heart rate. You could also use an Oura Ring for this. There's also tons of apps that you can use, or the health app that comes pre-installed on your phone will track activity reasonably well. One other thing to consider for gear is that your breasts are also going through a lot of changes throughout your pregnancy. And you will likely need to go up a bra size, and you may require a bra with additional support, especially if you're using sports bras and you're doing high-intensity activity like HIIT training or running. Later in your pregnancy, you may also consider a belly support belt. This can help reduce discomfort when you're walking or running, and a belly support can actually help support some of the weight of your belly and take some pressure off your lower back. If you are an avid runner or walker and you plan to continue that after your baby arrives, you may consider a stroller designed for jogging or walking. Some strollers make this much easier. Strollers or joggers that are designed for running typically have 2 large wheels in the back and then 1 smaller one in the front. I used a Bob stroller for many years. It was certainly not the cheapest option, but it was amazing for running and walking. I used it every single day with both of my kids. After you have your baby, putting your baby in a stroller and getting out for a walk is so great. It gets them fresh air, you get fresh air. They'll be in new surroundings with new sights, smells, and sounds, and you get all the benefits of being active. You should discuss your exercise and your activity with your doctor or midwife. That way, you can talk about it in the context of your level of experience and the particulars of your pregnancy. If your care provider has reservations about workouts that you feel comfortable doing, please talk through their concerns. Remember, many of the recommendations are very conservative. Like you should ride a stationary bike instead of a regular bicycle to reduce your risk of falling. If you are not very active and your care provider encourages you to start exercising, you don't have to join a gym tomorrow. Start with just a few minutes a day. Take a walk around your block. Whether you are an athlete or you're just starting out, almost any cardio activity can be modified so that you feel comfortable moving your body during your pregnancy. To recap today's episode, we talked about cardio exercise. I went through many benefits of cardio workouts, recommendations from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. I covered how to classify intensity. You can do that by tracking your heart rate. You can also use subjective measures like how out of breath you feel, or the simplest version, which is the talk test. I went through all of the ways in which cardio affects you and your baby, talked about the importance of a warm-up and cool-down, warning signs to stop exercising, and then got into specific types of cardio: walking, running, swimming, and cycling. Then we wrapped up the episode with some tips to make your cardio workouts a little bit more enjoyable, covered some basic clothing and gear tips, touched on a stroller. If you're an avid runner, I highly recommend getting a jogging stroller, and wrapped up the episode with a reminder to discuss any questions you have about cardio exercise with your doctor or midwife. I'd like to thank you for tuning into the Pregnancy Podcast today. I hope that you find this episode helpful. Please share this episode if you have a friend who's pregnant. So many listeners find the podcast through recommendations, and I appreciate you sharing it. As always, you can reach me, Vanessa, at pregnancypodcast.com. Read the full article and see all of the resources that accompany this episode at pregnancypodcast.com/cardio. If you're looking for more evidence-based information, or you just want an ad-free experience, check out Pregnancy Podcast Premium. Premium members get every episode ad-free, including hundreds of episodes with evidence-based information that you won't find anywhere else. Check out Pregnancy Podcast Premium at pregnancypodcast.com/premium.